Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is Sarah Haas. You're listening to the Boss Body Podcast. Thank you all so much for being here. And I am really excited that you're here because today we're talking about a topic that I have been wanting to discuss on this podcast really since the podcast started. And as we are coming into this new year, a lot of us are thinking ahead to what do we want our lives to look like? And of course, for me, being in health and wellness, so many people want to get their bodies in shape. But as you know from listening to me, wellness and health isn't just about the food you put in your body. It isn't just about your exercise. It entails everything about your life. It entails your relationships, your finances. So many pieces of your life have to come together to create balance if you're going to be truly healthy. And today we're going to talk about financial health. And I'm so excited. My guest, Kayleigh Provins, is on today. She's an energetic money coach. And I really want to introduce you guys to this idea of manifesting what you want to bring into your life, whether that be physical health, financial health, relationships, a new home, travel, whatever it is, a new job, you have to magnetize that to you if you want to have it. And so when I came across Kayleigh, I was like, oh, I have to have her on because she is talking my jam. So, Kayleigh, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's such a pleasure to be here. It really is. And I just want to start by really thanking you for bringing this topic to your audience. And I know anybody that's been in your community and around you knows as well, aside from the health and wellness side, how much you talk about women's worth and our self-value. And that is so important when it comes to our wealth energetics and our finances. So I feel very honored and privileged to be here.
And it's so true. And I love that term that you use, energetic, because I really want to hone in on that because we can have all these plans for ourselves. We can say, I'm going to make X amount of money, or, I'm going to, meet this person or get this job. But there is an energy behind anything that we want to have for ourselves. And you hit the nail on the head. You said it has to do with our self-worth. So when it comes to money, can you explain what those two have to do with each other, the energy behind it and the self-worth in regards to
Yeah,
finances?
absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's such an important question to ask because when we think about money, and especially as women, the world of money, the world of finance can seem very rigid, very structured. It's a very masculine energy. And we're put off by that energy a lot of the time. Oh, we can't, oh, I don't handle the finances, or I'm not good with money. It's not really my area of expertise. So I come at it from a very different angle. And when I talk about energetics, I'm talking about the connection to our wealthiest selves, the version of us that is living at a higher vibration. Because in order to energetically align with money, in order to bring money and wealth into our world and into our life, we have to be energetically in the same frequency. And I think what you said a minute ago kind of really kind of hits the nail on the head, is that we consciously tell ourselves what we want, right? We're consciously telling the universe or ourselves or our notebook or our colleagues and our friends, like, this is what I want for next year. I want a promotion, or I want to be doing better in my job, or I want to lose weight. I want to do all of these things. And the problem with doing that on a conscious level is that we're not considering the barriers that might be in the way on an unconscious level. And that's where the energy comes in. That's where the energetics is at work. It's underneath, and it's understanding that the barriers and the bricks and the blocks that are in our way are there in terms of our belief systems, in terms of how we operate, in terms of our values, and what we really value in life. And as women particularly, there can be a disconnection between that and money and wealth, and breaking down that wall to allow the flow of energy is what's going to make the difference. It's the who we are, not the what we do. That's the important part.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about the masculine model having to do with finances, and some of us tell ourselves, "Oh, I'm not good with money," or "I don't understand that." But it's really more than that, because women make what, 70 or 75 cents on the dollar compared to men. You throughout our lifetimes, and we feel that, we sort of take that in, and it's almost like we tell ourselves, well, that's the best we're going to be able to do because that's the way the world is right now. And it's a generational, that's been going on, you know for our mothers, for our grandmothers, for our great grandmothers. And it's funny, I watch a lot of the, Downton Abbey and Bridgerton and all those series about, the aristocracy.
Yeah,
And when you watch it, if you really like, at first you're like, "Oh, it would be so great to be so wealthy and just to, lie around and have people serve you all day." But the women, they are stuck. They are in marriages they don't wanna be in. Some are abused, even raped, and if anything happens to them, they're out, with nothing. They can't own land, they can't have a job,
yeah,
I mean, and that was these are fictional shows, but that was the reality, and not just in certain areas of the world, or not just with the elite. This is a reality for women that's been going on for a long time. I learned recently that it wasn't until the 1970s that women could have a credit card in their own name. 1970s, that's when I was born. Like, when you
yeah.
think of it, you think, "Oh, that was hundreds of years ago." But, I mean, this is a struggle that we're still dealing with. I know women personally who are stuck in marriages where they wish they could get out, but finances are keeping them there. So a
Yeah,
lot of it is the reality that we've grown up in, which I
absolutely.
believe has affected our way of thinking. And that's why I love that you're out there empowering women to say, "Yes, this is how it's been in the past, but we can do new things now. We can change this for ourselves."
Absolutely, we can. And I just want to touch on something you said there. You said, we can change the way that we think about it. And that's the key. And that's the difference with energetics work and simple surface level manifestation. When we talk about manifestation and abundance work, we talk about telling the universe what we want, but we're doing that on a conscious level. We're changing what we think we're changing what we say. We're changing what we think, but not how we think. And the key to that is understanding that these systems and these structures have been in place for generations. And it takes 4 generations for a trauma to be released from the DNA. Whether, things that happen in our families and in generations gone by, they're passed down to us in our DNA. It's proven. We carry trauma in ourselves. And so as women, we're not just dealing with what we've had to deal with in our own lives of being underpaid, of not being on a level playing field with men. We're dealing with, as you said, not being able to have bank accounts in our own name, not having any say or any control, of being owned in a sense. And so knowing that that's there allows us to not just change fundamentally what we think, but if we're ready to lift the lid and remove those blocks, it allows us to change fundamentally how we think. And that's what's going to change the legacy for the next generation.
And
That's
you're
what's going to,
saying in changing how we think about it, we change the energetics of ourselves
yeah,
so that we can magnetize the financial abundance to come toward us. Because you said the word
absolutely.
blocks. So will you talk to that just a little bit more? What is that? What do you mean by blocks exactly?
So if you the simplest way to that I can put it is, if you imagine when you're telling the universe what you want, you're in a place where you're trying to manifest the job that you want, the finances that you want, and you're telling the world on a conscious level. All of the generational trauma, all of the experiences that you've had in your life, all of the ways in which you're aiming to fulfill your values in life create kind of like bricks in a wall in front of you. So it's not so much that the universe isn't delivering what you're putting out, it's that there's a wall in between. So the energy isn't allowed to flow. There's no flow between you and what's out there in the universe. And it's it's almost like, and I know people listening will have all experienced this in their time, where something just happens and it's like, I can't believe the synergy of that was like, I was just talking about that the other day, and now here's this opportunity. Because what's happened is in talking about it or in discovering something, one of those bricks has been removed. So that energetic flow has got a pathway to move between the universe and you and what you want and where you are now and where you want to be. So by understanding that those blocks and those bricks are movable and changeable and it's within our control, then we can step in to the energy that we need in order to attract everything that we're asking the universe for, because the truth is it's there, we just can't see it.
Yeah. And so basically, like what you're saying is these bricks, these blocks are based on our beliefs of what is actually possible for us. And it could be
Our
beliefs
worthiness.
about yourself. Yeah, your
Yeah,
worthiness, your self-worth,
100%.
or it could be beliefs about, well, that's not how the world works. You know, men are just gonna they're the money people. They understand it. They know how to get it. They're better at it, and therefore they will receive it. So there can be a lot of different blocks. It's not just necessarily, but one of those blocks is just our belief that we deserve,
Mhm.
are worthy of having this, and our belief that we have the abilities to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I get 100%. And also the belief, there's often beliefs about money itself. You know, if we're telling the universe on one level that we want to create freedom and financial freedom for our family and we want to leave a legacy, but we're also holding a belief that money hurts people or that money is evil.
Or that people who have money are evil, or
There's
that
an
it's
energetic block.
selfish. Yeah, or that
Yeah,
it's
you're
selfish to
creating a
want money, that you're superficial if
exactly.
you want money, or you're taking if you have money, it means someone else doesn't have it. Like, there's so many, I've heard people call it their money story. What
Yes,
is
I
this?
refer to it as that as well, yeah.
Yeah, can you talk about that for just a minute?
Yeah, it's built up over time and over our interactions with not just money, but the idea of money. It's like, imagine growing up in a household where money is always a topic of conversation because there isn't enough. We build a vision and a belief around scarcity. We believe that there's a lack of it, and that creates fear, it creates anxiety, it can create confusion, and all of those things that built that belief of scarcity then shoot off and they add more bricks to the wall. It can result in chronic underspending. It can result in being underpaid and knowing that you're being underpaid. It it can result in all of these different actions and habits that we take in our day-to-day lives based on one single event. And that's what starts to build up our money story. We attach all of the other experiences onto this and create a narrative around money that, truth be told, is not even our narrative.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. It's like the
Borrowed.
message that what was your early messages that you received? You know, maybe you were in a working class family and you got the message that we're working class. You are too. You know, that's the highest level you will achieve. You know, you can work hard and be this, that, or the other. And, you know, that's who we are. And maybe there are, you know, others there that are in an upper, higher class, but that's them, that's not us. And what you're saying is what I teach all the time. Whatever you believe is what you that's the way you will act. Your beliefs affect your actions, and then your actions affect the results you get in the world.
Absolutely. And more than that, our words create the boundaries that we live in. And the words that we so often use as women around money and our finances are not in the pursuit of our ability to create our own freedom, our own ecosystem, be able to stand on our own feet and create our own safety and our own security. If we pay attention to the words that we're using, both verbally but also internally in our heads, it's those words that are creating the boundaries that we're living in. And this is why it's so important to not just change what we say, but to change really how we come at a situation, how we feel and think about ourselves, because that immediately changes the words that we use.
Yeah, and I think an important point to make is that, you know, money is a social construct. You know, it isn't really anything. It was a piece of paper that was invented to be exchanged for goods, to represent something. You know, I'll give you this if you give me that. And so
Yeah.
has it has an energy, and but we've attached so much more to it than just this is an exchange of goods and services.
And the truth is, money doesn't have any value until we give it the value. You know, a £20 note, a $20 note doesn't have value until we buy something that is priced at that we think is worth that amount. And the whole construct of society and why one of the main reasons I believe as women we suffer so much with our self-worth is the working world is you are rewarded in money for your contribution to the job that you do. And majority of the time women are underpaid, and so we believe that we're undervalued. We believe that we're not worthy, we're not capable. We tie our self-worth to our income.
That's so true, and if you would compare just the bottom line, if you looked at your income for a year versus a man's and you see that theirs is higher, you automatically go to, in your mind, well, that's because the value of what he did is higher than the value of what I do, and in reality, a lot of the things women are doing, we're not getting paid for. When you're a mother, you know, that is a extremely high value that you are providing. I mean, we're literally growing and birthing and raising the next generation of humans on the planet, but we aren't paid for that. And not only that, I took care of my dad when he went through a 2-year illness with cancer. We're doing a lot more of the work at home still, even when we have out of the home jobs, the bulk of the work at home, taking care of the household, is on women. And that is another. So, but we tend to look at awards, achievements, accolades, and income
Yeah.
and say, well, I'm just a mom, or, I'm just whatever. And that's not as valuable as being a CEO.
Yeah. And it stops us from putting ourselves out there and asking for what it is that we truly deserve and what it is that we truly want. And money and the energetics of money and the universe, we have to be explicit.
So
And
what do you mean by that?
quite often as women will revert to, I just need enough. Well,
Hmm.
what is enough? Because I guarantee enough to me is different to enough to you. And why should we be okay with just enough when there is an unlimited supply of everything that you could ever desire if you're willing to step into that version of you and just own it? Just own that this is what I want, and this is why, and I have every right and I deserve to have all of that. And stepping into that woman with confidence instantly will change your energy around wealth, around money, around abundance. And you'd be so surprised at how quickly things can start appearing.
Now you have a background in finance, correct? So can you tell me
Do.
about that? How did you come to become an energy money coach versus what exactly was your career, your corporate career?
So I worked as an independent financial advisor. I worked mostly with expats. So I worked with people who were in very high paid jobs, but overseas. So it was working a lot of the time to protect people's income from taxes that they would prefer not to pay, should I say? Working a lot to protect people's income, protect their legacy, to build retirement funds, to build, lasting wealth. And I worked with a lot of very high net worth clients. And I noticed, having come from a very working class background, having grown up in a single parent household just with my mum, I noticed that all of these people that I was working with had the exact same problems. And I realized that without the connection to the energetics of true abundance, of true wealth, of what it is that we are really doing, when we just focus on the money, which is the case for people with a lot of wealth, but is also the case for people who are living in scarcity. The focus is always on the money, it's on the number, it's on how we're going to make ends meet. You end up stuck in what I call a lifestyle loop. And it doesn't matter if that lifestyle loop is a minimum living wage lifestyle loop, or if that lifestyle loop is 200K a year. Everybody that I worked with and helped was ending every single month with zero in their bank account.
And were you mostly working with women or men, or was it a variety? And when did you
Mostly men.
Uh-huh. So men have these same issues even though statistically their income is higher.
Yeah. Because we we live to a lifestyle. So we're not understanding what real abundance, what wealth is to us, and it's different from one person to the next. I would deal more often than not with people wanting to take huge lumps of money out of their investments in order to buy a new car or buy the next house because they'd got a new job. Their income had increased, and now they could afford the next upgrade. But in order to do that, they needed a chunk of money for the and it just I found myself just constantly feeling so frustrated that there was an opportunity for people to change not only their lives but generations, and they were getting pulled into the lifestyle loop, the same lifestyle loop that people who are living in poverty live in.
So basically by that you mean no matter how much you make, you're spending it all. And you're
Yeah,
always going to then have that anxiety or that scarcity or that fear of, well, I have to pay these bills now. How am I going to,
yeah,
pay the bills next month? Yeah.
yeah.
And so how did you come to start working with women, and where was the difference then that you saw in the way that men deal with money and the way that women deal with money, and what you wanted to help women be able to achieve?
Yeah, so what I saw was the difference between how successful a woman can be at creating a lifestyle while also changing fundamentally the next generation. Men would set up trusts for the next generation. They don't want their little girls to have to go to work, but they want their boys to follow in their footsteps. And I noticed that the focus was always on women not having to work and men following in father's footsteps, men going out to work and women not working. And the energy of that is so out of line with the energy of the universe, the energy of Mother Nature, the energy of the divine feminine energy that the world needs in order to continue to be a livable place. And so what I noticed was by working with women and helping women step into their power, step into what it is that they were truly trying to create, and allowing them to do that with their feminine energy, allowing them to and showing them how they can build their businesses, how they can align with what it is that they want in terms of the life that they want to create from a feeling place instead of from an object place. That not only were they fundamentally changing the structure of how we think about wealth, but very quickly and much more quickly than you would think, they were passing that on not just to the next generation, but they were passing that on to their peers. And other women were starting to come to me and saying, "Oh, you've been working with my friend, and I've had this idea for ages, and I've always wanted to do it, but my husband's the breadwinner, and he doesn't like to think of me, stressing myself out with having to bring in any money. And when we don't make it about the money, that's where the magic happens. The most successful investors in the world are women. There just isn't as many
Wow. I did
because they
not know
don't make it
that.
about the money. Women
That
are way more successful at investing than men.
wow. I have never heard that, and, my mind is really just blown right now. That is a revelation. So there
because
aren't as many because
there aren't
women
as
don't have
many,
as much wealth. So a
but
lot
they're way
more
more.
men are investing, but the most successful investors are the women.
Yeah, because as women, we are way more comfortable with delayed gratification. We're way more comfortable with long-term gain over short-term kind of a dopamine, I suppose. Men um, get more often than not shiny object syndrome, I like to call it. They want the next big thing, the next investment. What's next? You know, a friend tells them, "Oh, if you should be putting some investment in here." They want to take their money out. They want to move it around. Women are more calm. They bring a different energy. They bring a calmer thought process and a more energetic connection to what it is they're actually doing. And when we
So many
invest,
Go ahead.
sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say there's a couple things that you've said that I really wanna touch on, and one is you said women are more calm
Mhm.
and more strategic and not as impulsive, which is the message we get the opposite message usually from society about who we are. We're the emotional ones. We're the ones that, hysteria, remember that word from
Yeah,
way back? And it's just so funny and ironic to me that you're saying, "Oh, well, actually, we're better money managers. And when it comes to money, we're calm and thoughtful and we think toward the future. So we're actually more conservative and less like running from one thing to the next and buying on impulse and looking for the next shiny
yeah,
thing, which, I mean, that's pretty profound.
yeah. And it's the the energy of money is feminine. The energetic signature of money is actually gratitude. It's gratitude and it's flow. And women and the feminine energy is way more easily able to align with that and to sit with that in a calm space. Whereas the masculine energy is more about the do, the take action, the act now and think later. Whereas the feminine energy is think first and act later, which ties into what I said at the start with it's more about who we are than what we do. And that's the difference. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces of information that is missing out there is that we're taught as women that in order to be successful, we have to step into our masculine energy.
Yes.
You know, you only have to look at successful women in movie and TV and how they're portrayed to know that that's true. And yeah,
Yes,
actually,
always the CEOs in movies are, cold and
yeah,
cutthroat and mean and neglect their families and they're never warm, they're never gracious, they're never giving. They portray that if you want to make it to the top, you have to be this certain type of person. And, it's kind of blowing my mind, the things that you're saying right now about because it's so true. There's a masculine model of energy of money. And it's sort of like basically to get money, you do this, this, and this, and you have money, period. Like take action, be aggressive, go forward. And then the feminine model is more I want to create something in the world. I want to be able to make a difference. And that's how I feel about the work that I do. I want to change people. I want to affect people and society in a positive way. And in doing so, I will be rewarded financially for that so that I can keep doing this work that I'm meant to be. And I want to say I'm completely generalizing today. I'm not saying that all men are just caring about money and that none of them want to
Of
put anything
course.
good out
Yeah.
into the world. I'm just talking about a traditional masculine model
Yeah.
is work hard, earn money, there you go. And then the feminine model is more it has a bigger picture, I think, in making a difference in the world. And what is stopping us from getting that abundance back, according to what you're saying, is A, beliefs about how the system works, how it's stacked against us, and that women just can't get there. Or B, we don't deserve it.
Yeah.
We're not worthy of getting that. So, I mean, really seriously, I just think this is something that we need to be talking about because money isn't just money. Money is freedom. Money is safety. Money is independence. It's security. It's power. It
Yeah.
represents us being able to be who we want to be in the world and not being trapped somewhere. Not being
Yeah.
stuck in a marriage or in a job we don't like, or not being able to afford things that we want to do or things that we need. Money is something that you do need in the world. To That's how we function. But there's so much of an energy behind it. So, I mean, oh my goodness, I really, really could talk with you about hours about this, but I want to give people something to take away from this conversation. And I know that you have a free resource that people can take advantage of. So could you share what that is?
Yeah, I do. I have a mindful money blueprint, and this is really all about how to start the first steps of creating a more mindful relationship with money, of creating that more mindful space to bring to your actions on a daily basis. Because so often we're just not mindful around money. It's just something that's there for a lot of us. Whether we take it for granted or whether we would just rather not think about it, the first step is being more mindful, and understanding how our interactions are putting those bricks in that wall.
Awesome.
So,
And
yeah,
so can they get that on your website?
they can get that on my website. It's Liberty Money and Life Coaching. And it's just, yeah, it's a free download. There's a little free resources button in the top corner. You just click on that and they can find that there.
And also, if they want to look you up on social media, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, on it's just Kayleigh Provins, and also over on Facebook, the Energetic Money Coach.
Thank you, Kaylee. This has been wonderful. I loved having you on today. Oh, this is so much great information that you've shared. And I just want to say thank you for the work you're doing and thank you for being here today.
No, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, I could talk about it for hours. It's a topic that we don't talk about enough, and so thank you again for giving me a space on your platform to talk about it with your listeners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you, everybody who's out there listening. I appreciate you being here so much. And until next time, I will see you then.